What's going on, everyone? I am Double D, and welcome to the Double D podcast once again. Always your host, Dan DeForest, and welcome to the 25th episode. I'm happy we've made it 25 episodes, and this is a very special episode. Unfortunately, this is 25 years after Dale Sr.'s been killed. He died, unfortunately, in the crash on February 18th, 2001 in the Daytona 500. So we got Droopy. He was on here last week, but he's a diehard Dale Sr. fan, and I thought this was the great time to bring him on here to talk about this episode and talk about Dale Sr.'s legacy. So glad to have you on today, Droopy. How you doing?
I'm doing pretty good. I can't really complain.
I mean, you're in the championship four in our league, so you're doing something.
I'm doing it for Dale.
Yeah, he is. We are all doing it for Dale. I got his 1998 Daytona 500 championship shirt right here.
Doing it for Dale, but being like this.
Yep. 316. But anyways, all right. So since we're talking about Dale Earnhardt, when did you first notice him as a NASCAR fan? Because I know you're like in your 40s. You're definitely a lot older than I am, so you were able to watch him in his heyday.
Back in the late 80s, early 90s. When I was like 9, 10. I think I said it in a previous podcast that it was the first time that I watched Dale. I was with my brother-in-law, who was a big Dale Sr. fan.
Mm-hmm.
And I was sitting watching a race with him. And he pointed. He said, "You see that black number 3? That's a bad man." So, and ever since then.
Yeah, that was many nicknames he was called. The Bad Man, Ironhead, the Intimidator. I'm sure he was called a lot more things, and some not as good things from his rivals.
The Wrangler.
Wrangler, yeah, he used
when
to
he drove the Wrangler car.
Drive the Wrangler car.
He had so many nicknames. But the man, not Becky Lynch,
Yeah.
but the man.
Yes.
So,
all right.
That's what I'll always call it.
So that's how you got into liking Dale Sr. But of course, we've got to go over his stats, his legendary career. Won 76 wins, 7 championships with 676 starts, 23 poles, and he was dominant when he was driving. He led over 25,000 laps throughout his entire career. So we're going to talk about his championship battles. Of course, he won 7 of them. I'd have to ask you, what was your favorite championship that he won?
Excuse me, 1993. Because, well...
It's actually 94.
But, yeah, 94. Sorry. He was just on top of his game. Like, he could not be beat. It was just the flying aces. You couldn't beat him. He was just absolutely amazing.
It's kind of like when myself saw Jimmy Johnson racing. Unbeatable.
Let's not go there.
Okay. But then he won 5 championships in a row. I had to bring it up.
Nothing against JJ. He was a good driver. I respect him. So, but when he won 7, in the old points, I don't think he would have won 7, but he would have been a multi-time champion.
Yeah. But that's another episode.
But I don't think he would have won 7. But
Yeah.
that's another episode.
Yeah, that's another episode. But we're gonna go over like his famous championship battles. So notably, I put the one with Rusty Wallace in 1989. Unfortunately, he finished second in the championship here. But do you remember that rivalry when you were first watching?
I kind of remember it more in the 90s with Rusty. But I don't remember the 89.
But I do remember watching in like old NASCAR documentaries that same year. He got into a Ricky Rudd at North Wilkesboro, and that kind of affected the championship there.
Well, Dale and Ricky kind of had a history with Richard Childress.
That's true.
Because if you notice, back in them days, they was both kind of driving the same. The numbers were kind of the same.
Yeah.
And Ricky was driving the 3-car. And Ricky got booted out because of Dale.
Interesting, because back then Dale Sr. went from the 2 to the 15 and to the 3.
Yep. So they just kind of swapped. Dale went to the 3 and Ricky went to the 15.
Wow. Yeah, I mean, that was...
So that was kind of the butting heads of that.
Yeah, and I guess Ricky Rudd thought it was kind of disrespectful of Richard Childress demoting him, kind of.
Yes.
I think that's what made their rivalry kind of like a little history there.
Mm-hmm.
Then we talk about his enemies. Dale Earnhardt also had the best of friends, too. I mean, Neil Bonnet, we had to talk about him. He was significant in Dale Earnhardt's life. I think he drove for a little bit in Richard Childress.
They were all friends with them.
Oh, they were.
Rusty, Kid Schrader, Ernie Irvin, Irvin. I get him and Kenny Irwin messed up. But, yeah, I mean, they was all friends off the track.
We're not supposed to be breaking kayfabe here.
Well, I'm just telling you.
I know. But, yeah.
Here's a funny story with Dale.
All right.
Rusty Wallace. I remember seeing it on the Dale Jr. download when Rusty was the guest on the DJD. Dale put sardines in the bottom of Rusty's car.
Oh, boy.
Under his seat.
It probably smells bad.
And as another joke, as to get back to the sardines, Rusty took Dale's steering wheel and hit it.
That's funny.
So, I mean, even though they had their battles, they were still just the best of friends as anybody could ever have.
And I'll be honest, it's going to be a hot take, but him and Jeff Gordon were kind of like that as well. But we'll talk about him and Jeff Gordon later on in the episode. But let's go to his best championship battles. Of course, we talk about Rusty Wallace there. Yeah, he had a close battle with him. Rusty Wallace, that was actually, I think, his only championship for Rusty Wallace.
Mm-hmm.
And Kodak car.
89.
Yep. And then the next year...
Kodiak car, yep.
Next year, Dale Sr. would be victorious against Mark Martin in 1990. Now, Mark Martin, the story about him, he's kind of like what Denny Hamlin is today. He was always consistent. He would always win races, but he'd never win the big one, the championship. But they had a close battle in
I kind of
1990.
feel bad for Mark with that.
So do you remember that
Because he
battle?
was a good driver. Oh, I remember all the battles with Mark Martin. Because Mark was respectable, and he was this version of Denny Hamlin. As bad as I hate to say it, but because he was consistent. You put Mark Martin in an intermediate track, he could be beat. I mean, with the Roush engines, he was dominant. He was the Dale Sr. on super speedways.
Dale Sr.
You put Dale in a super speedway car, and it was magic every time.
Yeah, he won. He won a lot of races at play tracks. 34 at Daytona, and won so many of them at Talladega. We'll talk about like his success at Daytona and Talladega later in the episode. But yeah, then he had another championship battle with Jeff Gordon in 1995. Now, this was after he won his 7th championship, but this was when Jeff Gordon, and the crazy thing about Jeff Gordon back then, really young. Most of the drivers were old with a lot of experience. But Rick Hendrick took the chance, and he saw that Jeff Gordon had talent, and he put him in a 24 car. And he went toe-to-toe with Dale Sr. And man, what a rivalry that was. You want to talk about that?
Oh, Wonder Boy. That rivalry brought NASCAR, I don't want to say back, but it was a rivalry that'll never be duplicated. Ever. Because Dale was on his throne. Like NASCAR was his throne.
Yep.
And he was at, not to take a phrase from Roman Reigns, but he was at the head of the table.
Yeah, he was.
When you thought of NASCAR, you thought of Dale Earnhardt. And then all of a sudden, here comes this punk kid from California driving this god-awful rainbow-colored looking car.
Yeah. Yeah, it's kind of funny how the rivalry was going on, not just with them on track, but with the paint schemes too. Like Dale Earnhardt had like the all black car, and then you had Jeff Gordon with the rainbow car. It was like light versus dark.
Oh, it was. Like, it was like you had the Flying Aces against the Rainbow Warriors. And it was just Jeff, when he came on the scene, it was like he was too good too fast. And I could tell as an Earnhardt fan that he had it. I mean, he had it. Like, he had the good cars. I just couldn't get over that rainbow. And I still can't get over that rainbow. Uh, but that rivalry with Jeff and Dale, they it was comical as a fan because you got with Dale and Jeff. Dale was not ready to give up the head of the table.
Yeah.
And here comes this punk kid, like I said, from California. And he was just beating Dale at everything, every racetrack. Like, and I'm like, what is happening? Like, you gonna let this punk kid take over? What is yours?
Yeah, it's just insane because like there were some years like he was winning more than 10 races.
Yeah, like, when was it? 98? I think when he was just, Jeff was just winning and winning and winning and winning. And I'm like, somebody get a voodoo doll.
Yeah, funny
And
you
painted
mentioned
as
that
Jeff Gordon.
because there was a fan, I think it was back in like the '95 championship. They got a voodoo doll to try to give Jeff Gordon
That's
some
why
bad
I brought
luck,
it up.
but it
And
didn't
like,
work.
stick it. But that rivalry,
And they would also get into it with each other on the track too.
oh yeah. Like Dale would always try to get the back of Jeff Gordon. And vice versa. I've seen Jeff try to get the Dale. But Dale wasn't having it.
Yeah, definitely.
It's my NASCAR, buddy. Wait a minute.
Yeah. So that brings us to the
So
1997 Daytona 500. 19 years, Dale Sr. is still trying. And then you have Jeff Gordon. The Hendrick cars look dominant that race. And I find it such an iconic race because you had both of them battling each other throughout the day.
until Dale Sr. flipped.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was just one of those things, man. I mean, honestly, I never thought he would ever win the 500. Like, there's no way. I mean, he hit a single. He's blown tires, engines. Like, he just freaking Derek Cope
Yeah, that one
is
from
the luckiest
1990.
man on the face of this planet.
More lucky than these ones winning millions of dollars out there.
But that's one thing nobody can take away from him. That he was a Daytona 500 champion before senior.
Yeah. But back to it, like the 1997 Daytona 500, like you were watching. Well, I watched the history about it too, so that's why I'm able to share this information. But yeah, there's like this part like where like Earnhardt got in that crash. Not only he flipped over, but he was asking like the emergency people. He was like, I think this car's still able to run. And that car looked like it was ready for the dumpster. Drove that back to pit road and still finished the race.
Yeah. And you know what? Dale never really had a DNF at the Daytona 500.
As bad as luck as he had.
He never had a DNF.
Well, if you think about
But
it, back in
yeah,
the day when they
that
had
story.
the Winston format, every position and every point counted, because that's why you'd see people get back on
Mm-hmm.
track.
Mm-hmm.
So, but go to the story you were going to talk about.
Well, I was going to reiterate that story that you were telling. After he flipped, I'm just going by what Larry McReynolds says. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
That Dale got in the back of the ambulance and he saw that all four wheels were straight on that car. And I guess the ambulance or the tow people or whatever said, hey, see if that car will fire up. Of course, they flipped the switch and it fired right up. And Dale said, get on my race car.
Yeah, Larry McReynolds was his crew chief back in the day.
Actually, he was his crew chief in 97 and 98. And Larry McReynolds said that, of course, they crashed at Daytona.
Mm-hmm.
So they took everything from the pit box and was going to take it to the garage. And all of a sudden he said, I just saw this black streak just go right past him. And Larry Mack said, no way. There's no way. He said he looked down pit road and there was Dale sitting in the pit box and nobody was there.
That's crazy. Because they thought the race was done for him.
Yeah. Like, and then Larry McReynolds said, man, there's no way they're going to let this car back on the track. And all of a sudden, Larry Mack said on the radio, he said, 3 cars clear to go. And that's how we finished the Daytona 500 in 1997.
Yeah, it's just insane. It's ironic what would happen next year. But yeah, let's talk about that now. So the next year, 1998 Daytona 500, of course, when all the Dale Seniors fans have been through it all at Daytona, it just always seemed like Dale Earnhardt will win everything at Daytona, but he would never win the Daytona 500.
Mm-hmm.
But then finally that day, all that changed. Take me through like how you felt throughout that race.
Well, of course,
you were probably waiting on something to happen.
Every Daytona 500 is always a good time for me.
For all of us, that's the beginning of NASCAR season.
Back.
Yeah.
You know, like, all right, let's go. Nobody bother me on Sundays until November. Like, this is, yeah. And I still feel that way to this day. But that Daytona 500, his car was just amazing. Like, absolutely amazing. Like, it was his to lose. Of course, we said that every year for 20 years.
Yeah.
You know, so that race was just kind of like, okay, Dale's leading. And you just kind of sit here and just watch the TV and kind of wonder, okay, what's going to happen now? And when it came down to about 5 laps to go, well, I don't know. I think they show the rear view or the rear camera, and I saw Rusty and Jeremy Mayfield try to make a run on him. And I'm thinking, oh gosh, no. Now this is going to be the next stage. He's going to lead all the way to like the last 3 laps, and then the Penske cars are just going to drive right past him.
Yeah, Penske was scary back in the day too, like they are now.
Yeah, sadly, Laguna.
Hmm.
So I was kind of worried about Jeremy and Rusty making a run on him. But then when that last caution came out with, I think it was Lake Speed and John Andretti,
Yeah.
I think you like crashed and like coming out of turn 2. I was like, okay. He's just got to maintain caution laps or caution speed.
Yeah, because he didn't have overtime back in the day. Thank goodness.
To just, thank God. I was like, okay, Dale, I just gotta. It's right there, man. Just gotta do one more lap. Under caution, just gotta do one more lap. And thank God for Rick Mast, as he used as a pick.
Yeah, Dale Earnhardt caught the draft off of the lap car, and that's why he was able to stay ahead of Rusty and Jeremy Mayfield.
Mm-hmm. And when he came across that checkered flag and finally won the Daytona 500, that was the best feeling I believe I've ever felt. Just seeing just seeing everybody on pit road coming to congratulate him. It was really one of those things. If your driver couldn't win it, you're glad to see Dale finally win it. And
the call Mike Joy made,
other than Junior winning, that was the best race I believe I've ever watched.
Yeah. Yeah, and like I saw a clip too, like the call that Mike Joy was making, and it made it extra special. 20 years of trying, 20 years of frustration.
Dale Earnhardt will come to the caution flag to win the Daytona 500.
And then he was doing like the burnouts on the grass. He said every man on every crew came out to congratulate the man that has won everything in this sport. Until this race, until today.
To this day, when I hear Mike Joy say those words, I get goosebumps.
Yeah, that was an insane moment.
But it was one of those moments that'll be etched in your minds forever. If he was there to see it. Like, it was just absolutely amazing.
Yeah, that was probably one of the best wins of his career if you think about it. But yeah, because he struggled to win that race. But we'll talk about more like moments he's had. Let's talk about like especially at Bristol. Bristol, a track mainly dominated by Darrell Waltrip, but Senior gave a lot of great moments over there, and this is where he earned his nickname, the Intimidator. He got into it with drivers like Rusty Wallace, Terry Labonte. You want me to take me through some of those moments?
The one moment at Bristol that I'll never forget was when they were coming down to the final lap. Or no, they was coming to the checkered. I'm sorry. And Dale turned Terry Labonte. And in his interview, Dale said, "Well, I didn't mean to wreck it, but I meant to wreck it was cage though."
Yeah, that came like
So
a
that
famous
was
quote in
that was my
NASCAR.
favorite. That was my favorite moment of Dale at Bristol. That's what made me fall in love with Bristol. Was because of that moment right there.
Yeah, then his son Dale Jr. will call it "It's Bristol, baby" later on.
Yeah. So it Bristol's magic. Just like Daytona. Daytona's always going to be magical, but Bristol's also magical. And it's because it's because of moments like that.
Yeah, so now we got to talk about another famous championship battle he's had. It was year 2000, and 2000 it was a up and down year for him, but he managed to finish second in the championship, and he made some pretty great moments there. I mean, years before that, he had some injuries, of course, on track from like scary accidents he's had, and he was able to still be in the championship battle that same year. Do you want me to take me through 2000? What you thought of that year?
Well, in the year 2000, I was kind of in between because that was Dale Jr.'s rookie year, and unfortunately, it was Dale Sr.'s last year.
Mm-hmm.
So I was kind of like still cheering for Dale, but I was also cheering for Dale Jr.
Yeah, you were cheering for both of them.
So the year 2000, I don't want to say that was his peak year, but it was his peak year.
Yeah, that's where he made his name in the sport.
Because he kind of reminded me of the Dale Sr. of old. Because he broke his neck back in 1999 at Atlanta.
Yeah.
And it was just a bad year. Like, as an Earnhardt fan, it was like, okay, Dale, you need to go. And I didn't want him to be like a Richard Petty, like Richard was. You know, just be out there on the track because you're Richard Petty.
Yeah.
And nothing against Richard Petty.
I agree.
But in the later years, in like 92, he was just out there to be out there. And I didn't want that for Dale. In 99, I felt like he was going to be another Richard Petty. And I'm like, man, don't do this to yourself. Like, you got too big of a legacy to just be out there. And even RCR was still kind of dominant back then. Not like they are now. Sorry, Jader. But they're not. But when 2000 came, he kind of had that extra pep in his step. From what I can remember, and this was 26 years ago. He was back to being the Intimidator.
Yeah, that's true. He was.
And he was like, okay, we're going after a championship. We're going after that aim. And of course, it didn't happen. But I really, after 2000, going into the 2001 year, our season, I really thought, boys, that 3 car is going to be hard to beat.
Yeah, and definitely in 2000, he had that magical moment. It was unfortunately, it was his last win. He went from 17th to first in 4 laps at Talladega. I mean, you got to take me through that moment because you probably weren't expecting him to win at all.
I really wasn't. I remember me kind of watching it, but I was watching it with a friend of mine. Excuse me, and I was like in the kitchen doing something, and it was like 4 laps to go, and of course I could hear it in the background,
Mm-hmm.
and he went, Travis. He said, you need to come in here, like now.
Wow.
And I'm like, okay, like there's no way Dale's going to win this one. So of course, if Dale was having a bad day, I still had Dale Jr.
Yeah, that's true. Dale Jr. was actually in the lead before Dale Earnhardt made it up there.
So I was like, what is Dale Jr. doing something? Is Dale Jr. going to what's happening? So I come in here, well, not here, but I go back into the living room and I sit down and I'm just watching. I'm not saying anything. All of a sudden, you just see Dale and Kenny walk nose to tail, and I'm like, okay, he's going to get like a top 5 out of this maybe. And then all of a sudden, I mean, I to this day, I can still see him just going. Like, and I'm like, this son of a gun is going to win this race. Well, and then all of a sudden, here, Mike Skinner was leading there toward the end. I was thinking, wow. I said, Richard Childress is going to have 1-2 finish. I was like, oh, okay. So I'm just watching. And then on that top side, there was that black 3 taking the lead. And I went, I'll be daggone. This son of a gun is going to win this race. And then when Jerry Punch said, the Intimidator is scraped and beaten, but he will not be denied.
That's a classic call, too.
And I'm thinking, you're dang right. Let's go. Let's effing go. And then when he won it, I was just still like, what in the heck did I just see?
It happened that quickly, you couldn't comprehend it.
Yeah, like, I mean, to this day, I will watch that race, and I still don't know how he done it. And they sit there and say that he could see the air, which, of course, I know Dale has quotedly said, I can't see the air, but I can feel it, and I know where it's supposed to be.
He wore a different helmet for a reason.
That's why he wore the upper face.
Yeah.
It was for that reason, so he could feel the air.
I mean, you could tell it made a difference because he won so many plate races that way.
I mean, 34 are the all-time wins at Daytona. He won 10 at Talladega. That just don't happen to anybody unless you're an Earnhardt. But yeah, like I said, to this day, I could watch that race, and all 26 years later, I still get excited, even though I know he
That's
wins.
crazy.
But just watching him was just amazing at those plate tracks.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, that's incredible. I mean, I was watching those clips. I couldn't believe it myself when I look at it showed like NASCAR would show like flashbacks on social media. It said, "Watch Dale Sr. go from 17th to first." I'm like, that's incredible. Like that felt like NASCAR back then. That was actual NASCAR. But
Yeah,
but yeah, he won his final one at Talladega, and he finished second in the points that year. And then that takes us to 2001. But before the Daytona 500, he actually made a start in the Rolex 24 along with his son Dale Jr. in a Corvette in Rolex 24. I don't think they won in their class, but they completed the race.
I think they finished like in third or fourth or something like that, maybe.
Yeah, they had a good finish at least.
Yeah, they did.
But yeah,
and Dale was having fun.
Yeah, he said he wanted to do it again. And there was even talks where if he still like lived and he didn't like if he decided to retire from NASCAR, he would go to endurance racing.
Sadly, I can see that because he just wanted to race.
Yeah.
That's all that man dreamed about was racing. He ate and slept racing.
Ever since he drove that pink car at that dirt track and won his first race ever before he got into NASCAR, he's always dreamed of racing. His dad, Ralph Earnhardt, also raced too.
Oh, he was amazing too. I wasn't around when Ralph was racing, but from what I've seen, he was a daggone good dirt racer.
Yeah, that's a crazy story. But now we go to the 2001 Daytona 500. Very first year, too, that DEI would be a team. Well, no, they were still around. I'm wrong on that. They were still around. But this was the first year I think Michael Waltrip was part of the team.
Yes.
I think that's where I'm getting mixed up. But yeah, it was the first year Michael Waltrip was part of the team. But they were around for like a few seasons before that. But for some reason, this season felt different because the cars now felt competitive. And you had like Dale Earnhardt Jr., Steve Park, and Michael Waltrip. And they were all looking to win Daytona. So you want to take me through the pre-race before the Daytona 500? What were your thoughts like?
2001 Daytona 500. The pre-race and stuff like that, like I said, Senior still had the pep in his step after finish second in the points, um, which is still kind of eerie of the comment that he made. You know, you'll probably see something you've never seen on Fox.
Yeah.
Uh, but he was still jubilant. Like he was happy with Mikey being in the Napa car. You know, Junior in the 8, Steve Park in the 1, his little car. It was a good time. Uh, like I was watching earlier the day of the 2001 Daytona 500, just kind of refresh my memory.
Mm-hmm.
And Mikey said that like during speed weeks that Dale and Dale Jr. got together and said, "Okay, this is how we gonna win this race." And it, and I kind of agree with Mikey on this. You know, that was a pretty good plan, but you got 40 other drivers out here that's going to mess it up somehow.
Yeah, it's Daytona. I mean, it's unpredictable. I remember reading a book. It was like one of Michael Waltrip's book about like his racing career, and Michael Waltrip struggling throughout his entire like career until the late
425
'90s.
or 462 times he started his car and never won a race.
Yeah, exactly. Beside one, but it wasn't a points race. It was an all-star race, I think, in like 1996. But yeah, I remember reading like a book from him,
Yeah.
and he was talking about like he was just down on himself. But then Dale Sr., of course, signed him. He was buddies with Darrell Waltrip, of course, and he was buddies with Michael, and he was trying to give him a helping hand. And of course, yeah, he came to him and he was like, "Here's the plan." And like you said, it's a good plan, but it's usually not going to work.
No. Well, because Mike Joy said it best. You can figure out who you want to draft with or who you want to run with. And then they drop the green flag.
Exactly.
You know, so this Daytona was no different than what today is.
Exactly. But yeah, so so talking about like all that, how they started with like the season and everything, and getting into hopping into the cars for the final moments before they started. Of course, they were all strapping in. You probably didn't think as much of it. You probably just thought it was just another Daytona 500 at that time.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And they were first race of the season and first time on Fox too. The first time it was on another big network. I mean, previously it was on CBS and ESPN, but the first time ever it was on Fox, like we mentioned. But yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So take me through your emotions during the race and how it came down to the final moments.
Well, like I've said earlier, of course I'm a Dale Senior fan, but I was also a Dale Junior fan. So it was kind of like, who am I going to cheer for?
Mm-hmm.
You know, so I was kind of watching the 8 car, and I was watching the 3, and Dale being Dale, so just dominating, and then when Tony Stewart flipped, I was kind of like, okay. Of course, my thing is, okay, where's Dale? Did he miss it? Is the DEI cars like missed the wreck? Then the red flag came out, obviously. So I was still okay with it. Because then, of course, they scrolled where everybody was.
And it showed, ironically,
so I was like,
Michael Waltrip was in the lead.
Yeah,
and Dale Jr. and Dale Sr. were right behind him.
Yeah. So, and then there it was. Mikey was 1. Yeah. Junior was 2. Senior was 3.
Yeah, I'm mentioning this too because I've seen the documentary many times. But just refreshing groupie. But I mean, it looked like it was going to be honestly, without Dale Sr.'s death, it was probably going to be one of the greatest Daytona 500s of all time.
Oh, yeah. Like, hands down.
But didn't take me through, of course, what we were talking about during the red flag.
During the red flag era, I saw it. Like I said, Mikey 1, Junior 2, Senior 3. And I'm thinking, there's no way Mikey Waltrip's going to win the Daytona 500. There's absolutely no way. And this was before I knew about what was said with Dale.
Yeah.
The plan.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, there's no way Mikey Waltrip is going to win this Daytona 500 in this car because Mikey's never won a race.
Mm-hmm.
So in the day documentary, and Richard says, Dale got on the radio and said, Richard, if NASCAR doesn't do something with these cars, it's going to kill somebody. Which is still eerie, again.
I mean, it's just insane he said that right before his wreck happened.
So I was like, okay. Here's in my mind, I'm thinking Dale's going to drive past these 2 cars and win his second Daytona 500.
And
which would be happy for me.
Oh yeah, obviously. But the crazy thing was he did something that he'd never done in his entire racing career: drive defensively.
And that was weird. Because even I'm like, Dale, your car is way better than your 2 cars. Like, you own these 2 cars.
He was like a mother duck protecting his ducklings. Her ducklings.
And Mikey and Junior just hooked up. They'd gone. And, of course, Dale had this hornet's nest behind him because Starley Marlin had a good car. Ken Schrader was coming up on the outside. So Dale was all over the track.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, Dale, what are you doing? And just get with Sterling. Let him push you to the lead. You own the 2 cars. I'm pretty sure you wouldn't get a mulligan.
Yeah.
Sorry, boys. I know I own it. I'm the boss. I'm going to the front, boys. And they was coming down the back stretch. Like I said, they still in that hornet's nest. and then turned forward.
No, man. I mean, I
Which
didn't
to
live
this
through
day
that
I
race,
can't
but
watch it.
just hearing the story about it.
I still can't watch. I could watch from beginning to the race all the way to the backstretch. Once they go into turn 3, I can't watch it. And I could watch after. I could watch before the wreck and after the wreck.
Mm-hmm.
But I can't watch Dale hit the wall.
Yeah, but without you probably don't want to go through this memory, but no, you don't. But take me through like that moment, like him going into turn 3, blocking Sterling Marlin, and Waltrip and Junior driving away.
The wreck at turn 4 didn't look like a bad wreck. Which of course Dale's had far worse wrecks than that.
Oh yeah, definitely.
So I really didn't think nothing of it. Because, I'm like, well, Mikey and Junior finished 1-2. I'm hoping that, he's all right and get out of the car.
Mm-hmm. I mean, Michael Waltrip won the race, so his car won the race.
Yeah.
So he was supposed to go to victory lane and at least accept the owner's trophy.
Mm-hmm. Which would have been amazing. Mikey's first win. It's the Daytona 500. DEI is finally on the map.
And insane to think too, that was Dale Earnhardt's first Daytona 500 win as an owner.
Yeah. So it would have been a first for a lot of things. So what really worried me was after they wrecked, Ken Schrader got out of the car and went to go put Dale's window net down. And you could kind of see Ken Schrader's demeanor change.
Mm-hmm. And went from calm to
so I kind of
urgent.
Yeah, because he was the safety workers were there quick, but just need to be quicker,
mm-hmm.
as he put it. And when I saw that, and I saw Ken, telling him like, "Hey, come on," I was like, "This ain't good. Like, there's something wrong." So of course I'm like, "Hey, Junior finished second at the Daytona 500, so I'm happy."
Yeah, because you thought it was just a regular wreck.
Yeah, because I really did. And so, of course, I turned it off. Because I'm like, okay, Mikey won. I was happy for Mikey. And backstory, I went to Walmart with a couple of my friends. And this was before social media.
Yeah, that's right. We
So
didn't have social media
kinda
back in
heard
the day. Internet was there, but you didn't really use it.
Right. So you kind of still had to come do the hearsays, So there was a lot of. I was at Walmart and I heard that Dale Sr. died. But then I'd hear that he was in the hospital with serious injuries. So I really didn't know what to believe. So, of course, I came home from Walmart, and this was when ESPN did pretty much all, just pretty much Sports Center.
Yeah.
And I remember walking in there and turning it on Sports Center because I'm like, okay, they're going to pull the highlight. Hopefully, they're going to give an update on Dale because they had to do the quick off because of the red flag and everything else. So I turned it on ESPN, and unfortunately, they've shown the highlight of Mike Hill. And he said those words that is embedded in my mind to the day I die. After the accident at the turn 4 at the end of the Daytona 500, we've lost Dale Earnhardt.
Yeah, it was just awful. Like the impossible happened.
Yeah. Like, and I'm like, what? Like, there's no way. They're like, just, and I literally just sat down on my bed and I was just glued. Like, uh, uh, did I just hear him say, we've lost Dale Earnhardt? Like, what? Huh? So I was like, oh my gosh. Like, I watched a man die on national TV. And it wasn't a bad wreck.
Nobody thought it was a bad wreck compared to what he's been through.
But what killed him was after Sterling Marlin clipped him, he went up and hit the wall. Well, Ken Schrader just kind of just went T-boned him. And he went head on to the wall. Now, if Ken Schrader wasn't there, now this is just my belief. If Ken Schrader wasn't there to T-bone him, he wouldn't have hit that wall head on. He might have went a little bit to the right or to the left. But I don't think he would have hit like the wall head on.
Yeah, because it made it more of like a hard impact whenever like Ken Schrader hit Dale Sr. at the same time he hit the wall head on.
So,
and you could tell like the impact was bad because a wheel fell off of Earnhardt's car.
Well, as I know, there's all kind of conspiracies going on that about that day. And the only thing that I can add to the conspiracy was if he died right when he hit that wall, how did his car get straight coming down off the and hit the brakes? Because if you look, when he came down off the wall, his car turned, and you can see the back tires just like someone hit the brakes.
Yeah.
So I'm just kind of like, okay.
But did it say like in the autopsy that he had like
hospital?
Did it say in the autopsy that he had like a broken leg or something? Or he had something with his leg go on? Because it might have been stuck on it even after he got hit.
I think so. but with the with the way the impact was, and he died on impact.
Yeah.
So it was just a bad day.
Yeah.
That's a day that will live in infamy.
Yeah, it's just sad because Michael Waltrip won the Daytona 500 the same day. He was expecting, Dale Earnhardt, his owner, to be there. Yeah, and then instead he had Ken Schrader come over and told Michael Waltrip what he did not want to hear.
Yeah. Well, I don't think Ken Schrader told him that Dale died.
Well, they didn't know that he died yet at that moment. He just said there's something going on.
Ken Schrader told him, like, hey, Dale's in trouble. So I kind of feel bad for Mikey because it was his first win, and Dale gave him that opportunity. And it's always going to have that dark shadow over it.
Yeah, like Michael Waltrip's best friend died, and then Dale Earnhardt Jr.'s father died, and that died as well.
Yep.
I mean, it is a horrible day for NASCAR, and older fans consider that being the death of NASCAR itself. My personal opinion, I don't think that was exactly the death of NASCAR. I think that was later on, but it was definitely probably the darkest day in NASCAR history.
NASCAR, for a while, NASCAR wasn't the same.
I mean, it's definitely not going to be when they lost their top driver.
I
mean, that's just like saying that's like if Tom Brady. I mean, he's won 7 championships, but that's like if he's playing on the field, and then something happened to him. The whole NFL would be in shock.
Yeah, absolutely. So, and then people would sit there and say, "Well, that's the death of the NFL because Tom Brady passed away."
Yeah.
Or if you want to go deeper, Michael Jordan.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, when something happens to Mike, they're going to sit there and say, "Well, that's the end of that legacy."
I mean, that's kind of like with Ayrton Senna in F1 as well. I mean, they had a similar problem because in F1 they consider Ayrton Senna as the greatest F1 driver of all time. And he didn't win as much championships as Dale, but he was considered great because of all the talent he's had. Like his winning percentage was higher. Like he had a greater winning percentage in like the races. Like, what am I trying to say? I think he had like 60% winning percentage, but he's won more races than he hasn't raced. So I mean, it's similar to that too, but
yes,
I mean, he just like we said, a bad day, and I don't know. Everybody was just like sad after that. Saved my notebook.
here's the best comparison. However you felt when Kobe Bryant died,
you felt that with Earnhardt.
That's how NASCAR fans felt when Dale Sr. died.
Yeah.
So that's the best comparison.
But then the only thing was, even without Dale Earnhardt, they'd still have to race the next week. They'd race at Rockingham.
That was a good and bad day.
It was
which course? I think it was lap 3. Dale Jr. crashed.
Yeah, and he ended the race.
in the same way that Dale Sr. wrecked the week before. But it was rainy and cold. Which, of course, I wasn't there at that race. I'm just going by what I remember.
Yeah.
But it was rainy and cold, and really nobody wanted to be there. So they canceled the race because it was raining. And then they scheduled it on that Monday. And I was still kind of excited because Steve Park had that dominant car. So I was like, well, if DI just so happens to win this race, I would be okay with it.
Yeah, and then they ended up winning. He beat.
And they ended up winning at Rockingham.
And he had a close finish. I can't remember who he had a close finish with, but it was kind of a similar style that
Bobby
Labonte, I think.
No, that wasn't Bobby.
Oh, that wasn't. Yeah, but I remember
it was Bobby.
Oh, it was him?
I think it was.
Yeah. But at least with somebody, he had like a close finish. Not as close as like the year prior, but it was kind of like how Dale Earnhardt won against Bobby Labonte at Atlanta. That's last year.
You're thinking of Harvick's.
Well, yeah,
race in Atlanta.
I am. I mean, they had a close finish. That's what I'm trying to say. That's the main point I'm trying to make.
Yeah. So with DI being 2 for 2, I was okay. And I think Steve Park wasn't driving that car that day. I think it was like, okay, Dale Sr. saying, here you go. This is how I want to be remembered. And
yeah,
I really believe that Dale Sr. drove that race.
Yeah, it's just crazy. And as we mentioned, a couple of weeks later, Kevin Harvick already stepped in after Dale Earnhardt passed away. He was called up as the replacement driver. But Kevin Harvick, man, he would really make his name right away, especially when he got his first win in Dale Earnhardt's car against Jeff Gordon in Atlanta. And that was a close finish, too. Similar way, as I mentioned, Earnhardt beating Bobby Labonte at Atlanta, I think the year prior, or was it in 1999? I don't remember.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was the year prior.
Yeah, the year prior. But it was just an insane, and it was against Dale Earnhardt's biggest rival too, Jeff Gordon. That's what made it even more special.
Mm-hmm. That race,
I mean, you think it's scripted, but it's not.
No, because it was Kevin Harvick's third race.
Yeah.
In an RCR car.
Using a 29.
Driving,
the 3 was...
He's in the 29 Goodrich.
Mm-hmm.
But it was the 3 car.
Yeah.
It was just like a Band-Aid for like, okay, Dale's car won. That you couldn't script it any better.
Yeah, and then he did like a pole lap where he went around and held the 3.
That I teared up for that one.
Yeah, because that's not even compared to what would happen weeks later.
That was that was a good day.
Yeah. So you had that happen. Then later on, you had the 2001 Daytona, not Daytona. We already talked about that. 2001 Pepsi 400. And oh man, I mean, it was just like insane this race. It was the first time they've been back after the accident. And you could tell Dale Jr. had the best car. But then it looked
Yes.
like at the very end, he might lose. But then he went from sixth to first, climbed his way back with Michael Waltrip right behind him. And then you finished the rest.
That race, well, it was emotional, period.
I think you're starting to cry here.
Yeah, because it was just, yeah. That race was emotional because, just like you said, it's the first time they came back after Dell dying. Uh, I I really didn't want to watch that race.
But something made you watch it.
There was nothing else on TV.
Yeah.
I mean, there was really nothing on it. So I was like, well, I'll just watch it. I ain't gonna cheer for nobody, even for Junior. I wasn't. I was just like gonna roll with the motion. And of course, at the beginning, that's all they talked about was Dale.
Mm-hmm.
You know, the whole Daytona 500. I'm like, why? I understood why, but a part of me was like, do we have to relive this? Are we going to relive this every time they come back to Daytona? So I was like, okay. So I watched the beginning of the race, and I was just like, well, then Kevin Harvick got the lead. I was like, ooh, okay. It's Dale's car.
Yep.
There's no other, no other way to finish it than Kevin Harvick winning the race in Dale's car and be like, that's it, boys. We need to move forward. So I was kind of excited about that. And then when Junior passed Kevin Harvick, I was like, wait a minute. So I was like, all right, there, Junebug. This is Earnhardt country. You go do your thing.
Yeah, and he went from.
So there was a handful of laps to go. And like you said, Junior was sixth or seventh, whatever.
And I think he had lapped cars back in the day, too, that was in front of you. So he had a couple of them, I think.
Yes. So I was like, okay, Junior's at least going to get a top 10 finish. Yeah, I would be okay with that, especially with everything that's happened prior. I was like, if he just finishes in the top 10, I'm okay with it. And then I'm sitting here and I'm watching. all of a sudden it was just like you had to look twice because if I could have swore that red Bud 8 was a black number 3.
Wow.
Because I mean, he was just like gone. Like, I mean, he was passing cars left and right and just driving, to the inside, to the outside. And I was like, okay. Uh, and then next thing I know, here comes Mikey. And I'm thinking, well, if Mikey wins this race, that good for him. Because that way he could get that mother monkey off his back, and then he could sit there and celebrate his Daytona 500 win. So I was like, all right, well, and Mikey wasn't leaving Junior. Just kind of like Junior wasn't leaving Mikey in Daytona.
Yeah.
They're 500. So I'm like, Junior's going to win this race. And when that checkered flag dropped, and Junior went into that infield and did the donuts, I was like, okay, I'm better now.
Everybody felt that
Because
that night. Honestly, for NASCAR to go ahead, they needed that night. Honestly.
Yeah. And I get it to where a lot of people say that it was scripted. But
it's so good it made it feel like it was scripted, but it wasn't.
No, it was not.
Yeah.
It was not scripted at all. And to see how happy he was, knowing how he felt in February, it was like NASCAR could say, okay, we can officially move on now. Because Dale Earnhardt just won at Daytona. Yeah. You just have to add the Junior.
Yeah, and just in like that race, that's considered one of the best moments in NASCAR history, too, by many people.
It's still my best part of NASCAR history. Because in my personal opinion, if Junior did not win the Pepsi 400 in 2001, well, I would hate to see what NASCAR would be.
Yeah, and some of them just quit watching whenever Earnhardt died, but most of them followed Dale Jr., his son, like you did.
I had to stick with the Earnhardt name. And Dale Sr.'s legacy.
Yeah, I'd like to ask
Dale
you about
Jr.'s
that.
legacy.
Of course, we had know the backstory about Dale Sr. Give a brief summary of like how you think Dale Earnhardt's legacy will be continued.
Dale's legacy with NASCAR has made the cars safer.
True. And the track safer.
Even the track safer. With safer barriers.
And the helmets, everything.
Yeah, like after 2001, Dale Jr. did not race an open face helmet.
Nobody did. They outlawed it after 2001.
So, I mean, I think that'll be Dale Sr.'s legacy to keep NASCAR safer.
Yeah, it's incredible. It's like, I mean, unfortunately, you don't want a death to happen, but it's like that happened and that created all this safety. That's unbelievable. And we haven't had one single death in racing since in NASCAR since then.
And that's I think NASCAR for that because of everything that they've done since then. Like I said, making the car safer, making the track safer. No longer, much as I hated this at the beginning, no longer racing to the caution.
Yeah, that's true.
So, I mean, once the caution comes out, like everything just stops. So I commend NASCAR to that.
Yeah, it's just incredible. I mean, just the impact he's had. It, like, not only about his history and his lore, but just changing the sport completely and making it safer. And of course, a lot of other drivers. That's why they still race. They looked up to Big E, Dale Sr.
You know, the Notorious B.I.G. has a song, Biggie, 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 can't you see? Except I change it.
Yeah, that's incredible.
I don't say Biggie, 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 can't you see? Sometimes your words just hypnotize me.
Yeah.
I always say Biggie. I say Big E, Big E. Can't you see? Sometimes your driving just hypnotizes me.
Yeah. And back when I was a kid too, honestly, like looking at all the Earnhardt documentaries, that got me into sport more because I thought that's an insane story, and the insane like stuff that went on, and what the sport has. Well, I wouldn't say what the sport has became, but like how safety in the sport and like how these drivers would carry on to like the legacies and stuff. But definitely not Austin Dillon. But
yeah,
I had to crack a laugh for everybody.
Wrong 3, Jader.
Yeah, wrong 3. All right, but yeah, thank you for joining, Travis. I know this this podcast was tough for you, but I wanted to make this episode for everybody that wants to learn more about Dale Sr.'s story and why he was such an impact to NASCAR.
Well, I'm glad that you have me, and I'm glad to share my memories and my stories. It kind of opened a lot of old wounds, but it was also healing at the same time.
Yeah, that's incredible. I'm glad that happened. All right, so that's the end of the podcast, guys. Thank you for watching. If you're new to this channel, definitely hit the like and subscribe button. It's free. It also helps me out. It helps me put out more content as well. So, of course, I have the wrestling podcast this Thursday, 8 p.m. Central, 9 p.m. Eastern. Don't want to miss that. I'm going to be reacting to like the end of the Royal Rumble and like how that happened. It's not racing related, but it's a collab I have with the Midwest Wrestling Podcast. And then the OTC, that's right. And then Championship Weekend in the NASCAR In Your Face Racing Series. He's in the Championship 4. I'm in the Championship 4. And there's 2 other drivers. 1 race. This is the final season we'll be doing the format as well. He's going to get that championship for Dale. He's trying to. All right. Thank you guys for watching. I'll see you guys next time.